thank you so much for inviting me here to Santander. You have lovely weather here. We still have snow. It makes a big difference. Maybe I should tell you in the first place that I will be giving my presentation from a little different angle, as I'm coming from the port. I'm not a city planner, we are not city planners, but we have been dealing with city planning ever since, and I will be touching the city planning ideas we have in Helsinki. But bear with me so we can get this started. Communications is what I do for business, but I still think that people in Spain, they do communicate a lot more than we do, or in the Mediterranean areas altogether. We are more into technology maybe. And what we enjoy more than anything else is, we're only 5.5 million in Finland altogether, which is not very much for the big country we have. So we enjoy quiet, not being close to one another. Everybody's dream is to have a house of our own by water and nobody else in the neighborhood. To give you a background of what kind of environment we're living in. But we got this ESPO award for societal integration. You got Mrs. Ristok's presentation this morning about what it is. We thought it was a great honor, of course, but it has a long history of how we came to this event. It all started with Vuosaari Harbour, but before this, I need to tell that we had the first time winner was Gijón, which you probably know a lot better than we do. Their example was it was amazing for us, but had to do a lot of city planning things, building things that we don't, as a port, we don't do. It's somebody else, it's city planners, it's the city itself that does things like that. We did not have any opportunity. We could not, and still cannot think that we would realize such things. So we were just astonished by what can be done. But of course, this goes to how things are administrated, how things are organized in each country. I believe in Spain it's a governmental system for ports and so on. But in Finland, ports are municipal entities. We work like companies. We make our own money, and then what comes in can be invested in things. Of course, the Vuosaari Harbour, our new cargo harbour, was a big, different kind of thing, so we needed state money to go to that. But mainly it was our own money, so we do operate a bit differently. In order to put something new together, you need rules or regulations, some kind of outlines, how to construct the thing, a structure to things. And I think this was gone through this morning quite well, because there was a project for societal integration, how to deal with that, what kind of measures to take so that you can get what we needed, the public acceptance of your ideas. So general public support and image, education, port-city relationships, they are all some kind of outlines or headings for things that we needed to or wanted to see done, more or less. This is a picture of the city center of Helsinki in the 60s, when port business was, as it still is, not very sexy, not very fashionable business. All the blue areas are where our port activities were spread around in different areas. Where the red spot, that's the main housing and business center. And for the background, I need to remind you that, or maybe you didn't even know, that Helsinki did not have a regular becoming of a city. It did not grow normally and grow bigger and bigger. We were under the Swedish rule in 1550, when the Swedish king founded Helsinki, because there needed to be another city in that spot, in that geographical spot in the Baltic Sea. Sweden was ruling us. Across the bay was Tallinn, and that's how Helsinki was started in the beginning, as a port city. So a port in the beginning was the big thing, but in 1960s it was not, and still is not, a very big thing. Maybe that idea is coming back little by little. Here we are now. How much time are you given?
50.
Okay, let's see. So we have this idea of changing the ports, the cargo activities from city center, because as you see, there are lots of blue areas, and as the city of Helsinki, being the capital of Finland, needed more housing area, needed more areas for jobs and offices, and the cargo traffic needed to be out of the center. So these two ports, North Harbor, where's the thing here? North Harbor is this area, this which is used to be railroad traffic, and West Harbor, which is here, container traffic, needed to be moved out of the city center to Nuevos Harbor, a port which you see to the east. What we ran into, this was in 1990s, were first the environmental issues. We were naive enough at that time that once we deal with environmental issues, they will be over. We were wrong. There was this special kind of bird, I don't know the name in English, which kind it is, that was so rare in that area, had to be protected. That was studied very thoroughly. Then we studied fishes, how fish survive when there's a harbor coming around. And then because this Natura 2000 area goes here, there's a line, so we mistreated the area slightly, in our opinion. That was a discussion for a long time, by putting the railway tunnel into the ground within the Natura 2000 area. And Finland is you have tunnels here in Europe because you have mountains, but we have tunnels in a flat country, and that's something very new to us too. But that is because people didn't want any disturbances, and of course that created some cost effect also. But also, by the way, in this was the environmental impact assessment only meant that several things that we're not used to doing had to be done. Siberia, we call the project of Vuosaari. Siberian Finnish, I don't know if that translates to any other language, but that means to us something very rough that you need to go through, and not necessarily pleasant one, but it was a very good learning experience. So that environmental impact assessment only meant that we need to inform the local people about our plans and how they are dealt with. Like you see in the picture to the right, there's really the project director talking with people. We had regular meetings, regional meetings, because we had to tell in the first place how much wealth the port brings to the country. That was not clear at all. And of course these meetings were very good. The residents came up with ideas that could be taken into consideration within the planning. And we did publish a newspaper, as you see in the picture. It's all in Finnish, of course. It came out regularly. We put up a website. We brought out news, that positive news of what is going on, because the unknown port is not a very known business. It used to be, maybe in the 60s it was still sexy, with rough workers, maybe it was dark alleys with red lights, something. It was some sort of romantic idea. So people they still don't really know what happens in the port area. So we try to bring the human face, the people who are working behind the project, and that turned out to be very important and successful. So in the pictures you see the things that you don't see in normal life, the trucks and I don't know, these machines you have here, I don't know the name is in English, but they're so big that the tires only are almost my height. So being able to bring people next to them was very exciting, of course. And the machines like these dredging machines and so on, it was very successful and a very good learning experience for us to do that all along the years that the construction period took place. Also, what we found important that when doing this, we brought people into the area where they never would be able to enter again. So we have these road tunnels, we had a running competition here, and then we had events like some fairs and then the opening ceremonies, etc., etc. And also what is very important at the moment, like many of these city planning ideas we've heard today, is about access to the port, access to the waterfront. This is a sightseeing spot in Vuosaari Harbour, which can be found, by the way, here at the very right this end. This is the new cargo harbour. Here we have a noise wall, because it's a residential area, it's a recreational area, people have their second houses in that area, they want to have their quiet. So we thought it was very important to do it as convenient as possible. That keeps the noise for one out of the residential area. Other things we did, as we do elsewhere in the city center as well, is we take all the wastewaters in and the lighting system that was created. Because Finland is half the year, it's very dark there, half the year is very light. But we didn't want to light up the whole southern Finland, because only the port area needed to be lit up. So we had a competition for lighting as well. And this is a picture of a surveillance camera to show how well this works. So back to this picture about city center. You see in this picture, this is 1990, the blue areas were still port areas, grey areas were former port areas that have been turned into housing areas. And this is the situation now. Blue is Vuosaari Cargo Harbour, red is where we have port activities still going on. And that right, blue area is dock area. Okay, this is West Harbour, where we left the low-load traffic, container traffic in 2008 when it was there for the last year. This is the situation now. It's very empty. And the housing area will be, or is being constructed at the moment. The thing is, our issue and main interest is because this is our most vivid passenger harbour. The idea is to keep the passenger activities in the city centre, so only the cargo activities went into the cargo harbour. So we have this area here in the West Harbour and some traffic. This is South Harbour up here where I'm showing now, which is the main, well, I cannot see the main. The other passenger harbour we have in city centre, which we still have, and we aim to keep the harbour activities, passenger activities, in the city centre in the years to come too.
Sorry, this is the situation of today.
That's more or less the situation, not today because we have snow, as I told, but
No,
let's say last summer.
Of course.
And this is the illustrated plan of what will be, which is very challenging and fascinating as well. You can see that the harbour activities take place here. It's a bit bigger area, it seems, by pictures than what it is today. And here on the other side, I didn't mention that it's a cruise activities, and this area, I have some more pictures later, will be developed quite a lot. But I think these activities will take some time still. But in the meanwhile, we have work to be done. But as the area, Jätkäsaari, the West Harbour area, became open, first summer we had Madonna. We wanted people to be able to enjoy the open area. We had a Madonna concert there, which was, as you see, very successful. This is from February. The left-hand picture is from a surveillance camera showing that as harbor activities are still there, of course, because the ferry is going to Tallinn mostly from that harbor. They take a lot of road traffic. So there are trucks all over the places, and of course people coming to the vessels, as well as the construction area traffic. And on the right-hand side, unfortunately in Finnish, a newspaper cut saying that in West Harbour you may have to wait in line for a long time. That's what we're working with at the moment. One of the big things that are maybe not that big if you count the meters or size, but psychologically a big step for us is to have a building, a real building. As we don't do monuments, we don't do buildings like many of the city planning ideas we've heard, we have a different approach. This is info center, which used to be a call office. I hope it means the same it means in Finnish. Used to be the place where stevedores were called in the mornings to work for the day, to unload a vessel or load. And that's where this building comes from. It will be a presentation space for the housing area, as well as exhibition area. The marketing houses will be there, cafe, etc. For the people from the residential areas, which you can see right next to them. And we will be there, the Port of Helsinki will be there as well to tell what the port business is about. Still, these couple buildings you see here, they are old buildings that will stay there because of their unique architecture, which means the outlines of the buildings inside they are not that unique. And there's one building which is called in Finnish, well, the name is bunker, but it's so solid that it would cost more to tear it down and build a new one. So that building will stay, and we will find new services for that. But that's one of the good things we're looking forward. And on top of this building, one of the challenges we have, the city planners, with good ideas, all my respect to city planning and good ideas, but we deal with the port, we have environmental permit for our activities. So they plan like a row house on top of that building. And we're just shocked, to say the least, because if somebody is living on that building or on top of the bunker, which is another place where these kind of ideas have been presented, we will not be able to operate. In Finland, it's just, the history has shown us that you can build a house there, but when the resident moves in, then they start complaining that, okay, the port, there's too much noise, there's too much pollution, there's too much everything. So it makes our life a challenge, to say the least. So that's how where we discuss with the city planners very, very thoroughly what can be done or what can not be done. There are a lot of studies that need to be done and to make it a serious business for them to show that, because some people might find it an exotic place to live right next to a port, which is something you do in Southern Europe a lot, but in our quiet, loving people, we do not do that at the end. We love the quiet more. This is the new area we have for the cruise terminal area, and the area next to the West Harbour area, where we plan to have new ideas and access for cruise people, passengers to come to the city center, like we have heard today. The thing about this area, it's an industrial area. This is still a dockyard. There are ships being built, and this is a cruise terminal which we have been able to, as the dockyard will be taken over again. But in long term, we have new plans, and these ideas that I'm showing you are actually short-term plans. I hope they will become true. We have, as you can see from this picture, we have several ideas coming along. I think there's one by one. Design saunas. These buildings, in my opinion, this is my personal opinion, don't look like saunas. They look like, maybe it's something very well designed. It's something else. But it probably would be an experience. But Finnish wood industry would, of course, be very well presented in that. But these are ideas where there's no financing yet. Another idea is, as you saw the cruise terminal, to paint one of the walls to say as a welcome to those who are coming, art wall. But the price of painting is so much that we are still looking forward to get some financing for that. A workshop village is another idea. A lot of activities are coming along. And that was only the West Harbour. This is city center, the South Harbour, the other passenger harbour we're talking about. And here I can put out a challenge for all architect offices, because there's a new competition, international competition, will be launched out in the beginning of May. On the left-hand picture you see the situation right now, and this is a study made some years ago about how this area should be elaborated. And for the competition, the whole area will go actually this way too, will be in question, and development is looked forward. It is at the moment a bit industrial. There's lots of trucks and so on in this area. We want to have it accessible for people. But remember, the beginning of May is when it comes out. Even though we're so close to city center, we're so close to people, we still need to, as port, we need to remind that Helsinki was actually founded to be a port city. So we organize events, activities, we talk with residents and talk with schools, and the old still living events in Helsinki, we organize that. It's Baltic Herring Market every October. We want to be able to share the sea as a common experience, to remind that this is almost where we came from. Sometimes we need luck to product placement, so to speak. This is a picture of last time when we had presidential elections, and here we have all the party leaders for a television interview that was taken or made in Vuosaari Cargo Harbour. To make it's important for us to be in a good, sexy environment. And as we won the Espoo Award Prize, we want to remind the people, and we have, because societal integration does not translate into Finnish, so we have turned it into being good neighbors. So this is what we have in our passenger harbors, in the passenger gangways, so everybody coming by boat, by vessel, or going out by vessel from Helsinki will see this story about being a good neighbor. This was what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much.